Prophet Muhammad and his companions, who were destined to emerge from the progeny of Ismail, in the cause of their faith. Every Eid al-Adha once a year Muslims around the world slaughter an animal to commemorate Abraham's sacrifice and to remind themselves of self-abnegation in the way of Allah. Later historiographic literature incorporates the biblical narrative in which a ram is provided, which is slaughtered instead of Ismail. The actions of Ismail in this narrative have led him to become a prominent model of hospitality and obedience. This story in the Quran is unique when compared to that in the Bible because Abraham talks with his son, whichever it is believed to be, and the son is thus aware of the plan to become a sacrifice and approves of it. As noted above, in some versions, Ismail makes sure in different ways that neither he nor his father hesitate in their obedience to Allah. In this way, Ismail is a model of surrendering one's will to Allah, an essential characteristic in Islam. Most contemporary Muslims hold the view that Ismail was the son who was nearly sacrificed. There has been significant disagreement among early scholars and historiographers. There are such persuasive arguments for both. In fact, it is estimated that 131 traditions say Isaac was the son, while 133 say Ismail. Such dispute over which son suggests that the story, and where and to whom it happens, is extremely important. It is argued that the story originated from rabbinic texts, and was adapted to Islam over time in order to give Makkah religious importance and connect the story with the pilgrimage. Arguments by early Muslim scholars for Ismail as the intended sacrifice include that Jews claim it is Isaac only because they are jealous that it was actually the ancestor of Arabs, Ismail, and that the horns of the ram that was sacrificed instead hung in the Kaaba at one time. In looking solely at the text of the Quran to determine which son was to be sacrificed, there still are various views. The strongest case for Ismail in the Quran is that directly after the sacrifice narrative, Abraham is told of the coming of Isaac's birth, therefore, it must be Ismail who was about to be sacrificed. Authentic hadiths are said to not contradict each other because that negates the definition of the hadith. Construction of the Kaaba, at some point, often believed to be after Hagar's death, Ismail married a woman from the Jaram, the tribe who settled in the area around Zamzam. Abraham visited Ismail in Makkah, and when he arrived at his home, Ismail was not there. Instead, Ismail's wife greets Abraham, but she was not welcoming or generous to him. Abraham instructed her to tell Ismail some version of the statement that he was not pleased with or to change the threshold of his door. When Ismail returns home and his wife told him that he knows it is from his father and, taking the advice, divorced the woman. He then married another woman from Jaram. Abraham once again visited and was met by Ismail's second wife, as Ismail was out. This wife was very kind and provided food for him. Abraham instructed her to tell Ismail some version of the statement that he was pleased with, the threshold of his door. When Ismail arrived and his wife repeated Abraham's statement, Ismail knew it was from his father and kept his wife. Many versions of the construction of the Kaaba that differ in fairly significant ways. Although all have Abraham build or cleanse the Kaaba and then immediately after, or at an unknown time, Allah called Abraham to establish the Hajj, or pilgrimage. These narratives differ in when these events occurred, if and how there was supernatural involvement, the inclusion or omission of the black stone, and whether Ismail assisted his father. Of those that say Ismail took part in the construction, most describe Abraham visited Ismail a third time in Makkah, during which they raised the Kaaba. Some say Ismail looked for a final stone, but Abraham did not accept the one he brought back. Instead, an angel had brought the black stone, which Abraham put into place. Ismail was left at the Kaaba, in charge of its care and to teach others about the Hajj. The starting of the Hajj has many versions, and some scholars believe this reflects the late association of Abraham with the Hajj after Islam had developed to help remove its connection to early pagan rituals. Career, Muhammad meets the prophets Ismail, Ishaq and Lot in paradise. From the Apocalypse of Muhammad, written in 1436 in Herat, Afghanistan. Ismail is considered a prophet in Islam and is listed in the Quran with other prophets in many instances. In other verses, such as 21 to 85 and 38 to 48, Ismail is praised for being patient, good, and righteous. A particular example which describes Ismail individually is, and call to mind, through this divine writ, Ismail. Behold, he was always true to his promise, and was an apostle of Allah, a prophet, who used to enjoin upon his people prayer and charity, and found favor in his sustainer sight. As a descendant of Ismail, Muhammad is the prophet and continues the line of prophets from ancient times. Analogy and association with Arabs. Ismail's place as the founder of the Arabs was first stated by Josephus. As Islam became established, the figure Ismail and those descended from him, Ismailites, became connected, and often equated, with the term Arab in early Jewish and Christian literature. Before Islam developed as a religion, Ismail was depicted in many ways, but after its establishment, Ismail was almost always seen in a negative light in Jewish and Christian texts, as he becomes the symbol for the other in these religions. As the Islamic community became more powerful, some Jewish midrash about Ismail was modified so that he was portrayed more negatively in order to challenge the Islamic view that Ismail, and thus the Muslims, were the favored descendants of Abraham. This became the genealogy according to Jewish sources and the Bible, in contrast with the genealogy of Arabs according to Muslims. The development of Islam created pressure for Islam to be somehow different from Judaism and Christianity, and accordingly, Ismail's lineage to Arabs was stressed. Some Christians believe that Allah fulfills his promises to Ismail today by blessing the Arab nation with oil and political strength. In pre-Islamic times, there were three distinct groups of Arabs: the Baida, Ariba, and Mustaba. The Baida were the legendary Arabs of the past, while the Ariba were the southern Arabs. Ismail's descendants became the northern Arabs known as the Mustaba or the Arabized Arabs. The Mustaba were described as Arabized since it is believed Ismail learned Arabic when he moved to Makkah and married into the Arabic tribe of Jaram. Ismail's line is then traced from his son Kedar, then down through to Adnan, then to the Mustaba, to the Quraysh. In this manner, Muhammad's ancestry leads back to Ismail, joining original biblical ancestry of Abraham with a distinctively Arab affinal stock, and connecting Muhammad with Makkah and the Kaaba. Details of Ismail's life are not as extensively documented in the Quran as some other prophets. He is highly respected within Islamic tradition for his piety and his part in the divine plan. This narration is based on the basis of Quran, Hadith, Internet, and other religious books of different religions.